Hello, welcome to Borrow My Belief podcast, which is designed to show you how it's possible to live from your soul and heart and create a life that you want that gives you fulfillment. And today I've got Lynn, my guest Lynn. She's amazing. I know you're going to enjoy this chat. I've no idea where it's going to go. Lynn's wonderful to speak with, and I'm just excited to see what comes out of it. So, welcome, Lynn. Where shall we
Thanks,
start?
Joanne.
Why don't you? Yeah, so Lynn and I met in the world of property, where we're both clients of somebody, where we're learning all about property and the different aspects of property. And this woman has really inspired me. So, Lynn, why don't you tell us, just see what comes out a little bit about yourself?
So I'm just a normal housewife, but my partner is exceptionally unhappy at his work right now. He's tired of working away from home and being away from the family. And we decided that we wanted to start a business that we could do together. And the first business that I picked, well, that he helped me pick actually, was the funeral care business, which I still have, thoughts of in the back of my head. But as we went down that kind of journey of looking into it more, my partner decided that he didn't want to have anything to do with that. It wasn't an emotionally stable place for him to be, where I felt I was going to be paying back something for, you know, things that have happened in our life earlier on as a couple. Um, so that got shelved, and we decided to go into the property market because he'd found a mentor that was offering some good ideas. So we did that together, and he's invested in me, um, because he still has to work offshore to earn some money for our mortgage and all the other things that comes along with having three dependents still and a dog. And basically, we've been in the process for about 12 months now, and it is a lot to take in. I'm 55. I'm not in my first flush of youth. I'm not old yet either, so I still feel I'm fairly young in my mind. But it's still a lot to take in when it's something that's kind of new, you've not been involved with before, property and all the legal aspects of it and all that kind of stuff. However, the journey in the last 12 months has been great. It's taught me that, yeah, you're going to be scared. But I once heard somebody say on Instagram or a social media platform, I don't know, it might have been Facebook, but it could have been anything, to be honest. But I do remember saying, if you're not scared, you're not living.
Mm.
So with that, I think it's a positive spin on fear, isn't it? So, and I'm all positive. I'm always positive about everything that's going on. It doesn't matter what happens. I'll always put a positive spin on it. Whereas my partner is the polar opposite. So it makes for an interesting chat over dinner. Anyway, yeah, so it's taught me that, you know, be scared. It's fine. It's no big deal. You just have to break it into bite-sized pieces and then go with the flow. Because you're going to be speaking to people that have got a lot more knowledge on everything than you, which is great because you're going to pull little bits and you'll learn little bits as you go. And once you've asked that question, that's something else that you can put into the back of your head to go, right, I know how to do that now the next time that comes up. So that fear kind of gets diluted as you go along that process. So yeah, so it's taught me that just do it. Taking on the Nike slogan.
I've put quite a lot of notes here. There's loads to unpack there. So,
So
um,
yeah, just do it. And whilst it's not going to be easy, I'm not trying to say I'm, surfing through life here with a great big grin on my face, thinking, "Oh my God, everything's such a piece of cake." But I think if you try and minimalize it's not the right word either, but if you just try and, be calm about it, you find a way.
Mhm.
And it's reaching out to the people that know more and, you know, extract the bits that you need from them and then just play it out in your part.
Yeah. So, Lynn, you've got to be one of the most giving people that I know at the moment.
Oh,
I
how
picked
is this?
up on, you just are. I picked up on this word positive that you said, and I wrote a post actually on Facebook this week all about challenges and all about things that come up in life. And I know you're no stranger to challenges. You whether you want to go into it fully or mention it, or whether you don't even want to, I'll let you decide. But you have had some real challenges, and I'm wondering if you talking about those and your spin on those could help some people who are going. I know quite a lot of people that are going through some real challenges at the moment. So I'll let you decide what you want to say about your challenges and what you would pay forward to people that are listening.
Okay. So I think I answered your post that you put on about the positivity thing.
Yeah.
And I actually gave my son, our middle son, the same piece of advice because I can't tell you when it started, but when I was younger, I don't know if it was when I was going through school or how far this went back in my life, or if it was when I'd started employment and there was different challenges coming up there. I don't know when it was. I know it was when I was younger, because I'm not old. So I know it was when I was younger, before I met Grant, before we had those other challenges and experiences in life. I taught myself, I don't even know if I did teach myself. I'm being completely honest here because my mind isn't as sharp as it used to be. But no matter what gets thrown at you in life, I decided at some wisdom age, I decided to imagine one of the old-fashioned egg timers that your gran used to have, which I used to play with actually at my gran's. It was a it was an outline of South Africa. I'm thinking a South African map on a bit of wood. And then, the two bits of glass screwed in at the middle with sand in one. And you used to flip it around. I played with that loads of times at my gran. I was really easy pleased as a youngster, clearly. My main toy as I was growing up. But maybe that's where it's come from. Anyway, I always said if it's a difficult time that you're in, just flip it on its arse was in my head. That is the word I used to use. Flip it on its side and just turn it around and look at it from purely a positive angle instead of the sand filling up at the negative end and going, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Just turn it around and go, well, what is it? Turn it into, is it maybe a learning experience? Is it giving you something to grow on? Is it something that's going to help you deal with a similar situation better the next time? It doesn't matter. But anyway, so any situation I'm in, that is what I do. I turn it around and I look at it from a different perspective. It's not
You've
to say I don't have crying moments. I totally do.
well, I wrote in my book, crying's good, Lynn. It really
Crying
is.
is good.
And
It
boy, have
releases
you,
a lot of tension.
yeah, and boy, have you had some challenging moments. So to hear that from you, that's really great.
Yeah.
So also you've mentioned the word 55 a few times. I'm 55, and I have to say, whereas I'm noticing many people, which is all perfect, are ready to settle down, retire, do less in life. I've got this spurt of, oh, I'm just getting started.
Wanting to do more.
Yeah, so for me, I feel that I've had the joy of what some might call two soul purposes. So one would be bringing my children up, and the other would be this journey I'm embarking on now to show people what's possible. And I feel really privileged with that. What would you say is going on in your system? at this age at
I think the
55?
same thing. I think the whole world and the whole way everybody is evolving now is completely different to what it was years ago when my mum and dad were with me. And the retiral thing was always like a big thing that, oh, we're all striving to get to retiral age and we didn't have to work anymore. And we could all just sit back and potter about in our gardens and go on holidays and, buy a motorhome and travel, whatever the dream was. And I think some of that still exists. But I think a lot of it has changed because I don't know if it's got something to do with social media, just or what it is, but I just think people are capable of more. And I remember my dad being super angry, like super, and he wasn't an angry man. He was a really level, calm guy, the best man I'll ever know. Um, and he was raging when he was made to retire. He was in the police. And at that time, you were only allowed to do 30-year service, and his 30-year service had come up as he finished as an inspector in the police, a very highly regarded guy in his field, and he had been just before his 30th year, he had been put forward to be promoted to the next level, which I can't remember if it was chief inspector or chief super, or I can't remember what the whole rankings were. But I know that he was put forward for it because they wanted him. And the only reason he didn't get it was because he didn't have enough service left. And he was livid. He wasn't livid that he didn't get the promotion. He was livid that he was getting put on a shelf because the 30 years was up. That determined that somehow you were no longer fit to think the same way, act the same way, solve the same problems, run the same business. Why? I
Yeah,
don't think there is an age limit. And I think the whole ageism thing is wrong. I
yeah,
think, you can come into your own at any age, really, which I feel like I'm coming into now because I've, like yourself, spent my time as a mother mostly, raising family at super privileged position, one that I'll cherish. Um, and continue to do, obviously, because they're still here. But there is more to you, as a person. You're not just a mum. I mean, a mum covers a multitude of tasks. You're a psychotherapist, you're a nurse, you're a giver, you're a listener, oh my God, you're a chef, you're 100 different roles, all rolled into that word mum. It's far too short a word. But you are capable of more, and I think people should grasp it and just do more of what they want now, as
yeah,
opposed to what society's
yeah.
told them the path should be.
And there's so much opportunities out there. As you were speaking, what I was thinking of was, for anybody who doesn't know my story, 6 years ago, I was living in a lovely home, had a high-paying job, had a great life. There was nothing wrong with the life I had, but there was something stirring inside of me where I wasn't fulfilled, and it was time for something different. And at that time, I couldn't see the resources I had. I mean, one thing that's been great about the property education is opening your mind up to what resources you do have that you don't even realize that you've got. And I've been on quite the journey and lost everything and started again at this age, which would freak a lot of people out. And it's not freaking me out anymore because I don't have fear over anything now because there's nothing to lose. But what I would say to people is be curious. Be curious. It's not that you're going to lose everything. Just be curious about what you've
Yeah.
got and what you can do with it. Because society, there might be somebody who's listening to this who thinks they're stuck in that situation where they're in and they've got something stirring inside of them. And society teaches us that it's like a system and there's nothing wrong with it if this is what you want, but you go to school, then you go for a higher education if you do, then you go into a career and all the time you're working for the next thing, then you're working to retire and then you're retiring to
So I'm
die.
saying there's always that there's always seems to be just like, this is the normal path that you should be on. You don't have to be on that path if you don't want to. You can go
No.
and, pick coconuts in Africa and live on nothing if you want. If that's what you want to do, just
Yep.
go and do it.
Yeah, and also like I do a lot of journaling and I do a lot of inner work because that's the nature of what I do. And I was sat doing some contemplation last night because I have a daily routine and realizing what we often can't see. I'm already living my dream. And the reason my brain has resistance to that sometimes is what I'm taught my dream should be, which I already had 6 years ago. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? So some self-inquiry is what fulfills me?
But
Do
it
I
wasn't
have to
your
live
dream,
the
really,
same
was it?
way? No.
It was society's dream.
Yeah, not what I thought would make me happy. I had more clothes and it was ridiculous the amount of clothes I had. But daydream about clothes and get that dopamine hit every time I bought some clothes. Some self-inquiry, what actually fulfills me? Where do I get happiness? And you're saying your partner, he's not really in a position to do something about that for himself at the moment. And you said he's invested in you. Well, to me, he's a great person that is invested in that. I watch you. It's incredible. Tell us, tell us what you've done with Property Lynn, and especially around what you didn't know was possible and what's happened in that last year.
Um, what I didn't probably know was possible was that I could do it. I think I've become reliant on Grant to a degree because he wanted me not to work. He wanted me to be at home with the kids, which is totally fine. Not in a like, this is what you have to do. But he just preferred it that way. We just discussed it, decided that's fine. I was happy to do that. But then as a mum, it's a very routinal role, up in the morning, washing, feeding, clothing, washing again, up in the morning, feeding, clothing, washing again, keeping them safe, making sure they're cared for, they're loved, they're supported, all that kind of stuff. But it's very much a rinse repeat system with love and affection, obviously, not like as a robot. But so now that I've been on this journey and it's taken me a wee while to realise that Grant has invested in me to start the whole process off in the hope that he can join in at some point soon. But I think the fact is that I didn't know I was capable of doing this. And that's even with me having the concept of the fear thing, which I think the worst thing that could possibly have happened to me in my life has already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the challenges Grant and I had as a younger couple, where we lost two daughters very close to each other. So to me, the worst really thing has happened to me and Grant that could possibly happen. God, if you're listening, we have 3 children here still, so you've had your fill. Don't be having any plans. Whilst I say that the worst that's happened, I mean, if anything was to happen to them, I don't know where I would be. However, so that helps me contain my fear a little bit. And I just think, well, just be yourself. Don't be anybody else. Don't try and be like, because I'm very much a follower of if people and if I'm talking to people, I'm very bad at thinking they're better than me. They're cleverer than me. They're prettier than me. They're more switched on than me. They'll be better with technology than me, which is something I've realized more and more, through this journey. And then I just think, everybody keeps telling me just to be you. So I thought, right, I'm just going to be me. I'll just be me. So anyway, the property was, I met somebody and through one sort of small inquiry as to what a rental market would be in an area that I didn't know. From that spun an introduction to someone who was selling properties that would be a buy-to-let opportunity. I went and met him. We had a chat. We negotiated on prices. I managed to secure quite a good deal. Shared obviously all the information with Grant. We, talked it back and forth, and the deal's come good. We've got 5 flats. They're going through legals just now. They're all tenanted. They'll be refurbished, and we've secured quite a good deal that we'll be able to pull our money back out and then start again. So we're creating a portfolio for our children, so we know that they're secure when we're not here, and trying to build a little bit of happiness, which we feel we're entitled to because we've not had it easy. And create a little bit of freedom that we can enjoy some stuff, in our later years. Or right from now. In fact,
From now,
why
then.
wait? Why
Yeah.
wait and plan? Because you just don't know. And if anybody knows that more than Grant and I don't know who would know that more than Grant and I, but it's so crazy that you still need reminded every now and again that, you're planning for the future always. A future isn't always guaranteed,
Yeah.
as we know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So thank you for mentioning about your girls. I didn't know whether you were going to mention it on this podcast.
yeah,
But
so it's kind of free flowing. So I wasn't going to, but
I'm so pleased that you did, because it shows the viewers what you've come through and how you surmount things and how you take on this positiveness. And I know it's not easy for you. And there's some other things. So first of all, what I heard there is in that your property journey, what I heard was, even though you said that you are having thoughts of people are better than me, what I heard was it's been a journey of self-awareness for you. And I get this inkling that as you travel through this, self-awareness is incredible. I talked about this in my book. The number one thing is meditation and self-awareness, because once you start to realize what's going on in your system, then you can work with that. And I get this sense that throughout this journey, as you get your wins and as you do things, you're starting to believe in yourself, and it's giving you a little bit of confidence. That's what I'm seeing.
yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it has given me. I mean, there's still some days that I still have that bit of fear, and you think, oh my God, am I able to do this and pull this off? And then you just go again, just put it into bite-sized pieces, and then deal with each small step as you can. And then you think, yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, I'm going to mention the property investment that we're part of. It's PMW. Paul McFadden Wealth. He's a great mentor. And I'm
Yep.
going to quote some things that he says that have really resonated with me. And that's, your problems grow as you grow, and
Yeah.
your business can only grow as much as you do. So for me, what I'm embracing is actually fear isn't actually fear. When I really tune into fear, it's sensations in my body, and it could be interpreted as excitement as well. So
Yeah.
that's something that I'm working on now. That is this just a label that society is puts on something that could be a signal in the body that, oh, I can get excited about this.
Yeah. So
So
it's not something that's going to dampen you. It's
yeah,
something that's going to ignite you more.
yeah, and help you grow. And so faith over fear is the mantra that I'm working with at the moment.
That's a
Faith
good
over
one.
fear. And the fact that I've got those sensations in my body is a signal that I'm on track to evolution, the evolution of myself. And if I do move through this, for me, it's been so much of an internal journey this last 12 months for me, more than a physical journey. But that's the path that I'm on. But if I move towards that sensation and do what it's asking of me, like you, I've grown in confidence as well.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize myself from a year ago. So it's funny. So people might be thinking, oh, well, that property thing sounds all right, but you've got to have money for that and all. You and I know different. They might have heard was it 5 flats, and oh, they must be rolling it. You know, the kind of thoughts that might go,
Yeah,
I can't possibly do something because I've only got this and blah blah blah. And you and I both know differently. People might not believe this to begin with, but I would invite them to be curious. You don't need money, do you?
you don't. I mean, this one's been secured on a bridging loan, but it's a manageable one, and it's still going to be a profitable one at the end. It's more about taking the risk,
Yeah,
and I think you should take risks in life. I think some of them will pay off, some of them won't, and
yeah.
then you're not going to be. I'm not talking about taking risks that's going to make you destitute. I'm talking about making, calculated. You know, this could work out, or it might not work out as well as we thought, or it's still going to be okay in the end. It's just you've just got to go into it with a positive attitude and just go, let's just do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll have learned something. You
You
know.
know, do you know, Lynn, I've got friends who did take risks that they became destitute. I've got such a vast range of friends, from people who are so wealthy, it's unbelievable, to people who've took those risks, and I've ended up with nothing. And all of them wholesome people. And the ones that were destitute have actually gained something from that. I have a particular friend who I call the wealthiest person I know, um, who took the risks and lost everything. And I have no doubt that is on his journey now to, there's no way he's not going to have loads. It's just how
Yeah,
you frame it and how you look at it. And going back to the property strategy that I'm doing, is rent to SA. Well, that's, and people might not know what that is, that's renting a property and putting it out for like Airbnb. That's not a strategy where you need thousands of pounds in the bank. So there are so many, and even if it's not property that somebody's listening about, there are, if once you open your mind, once you stop knowing things, because we limit ourselves with what we know,
yeah,
you start to realize there's so much out there, so much out there. And it's a pleasure working with people on property as well, because once you get an education, you can see there's so many different strategies that you can do as well.
yeah. I think the best thing in life is to not limit yourself to friends, not limit yourself to knowledge, not limit yourself to investing in yourself. And at the end of the day, you're accountable for you
Yeah.
mostly, in all your actions and everything that comes out your mouth. And sometimes you've just got to, you know, put that first.
Yep, absolutely. So I have two questions that I always wind up with, and I'm going to ask them you. So the first one is, you can choose any point in your life to look back, you choose, and look at that version of you and let us know what you would say to that version of you, knowing what you know now.
Wake up.
Okay. And what does that mean?
Just because, again, I was in that way of we left school with our qualifications, I got myself a job, I worked up through promotions, and I had limited thinking then. It all comes down to just, wake up. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more one than one way to do something. It doesn't have to be stay in your lane all the time. Venture outside that lane occasionally and learn something new, meet new people, meet different people, stretch yourself.
Mm.
Wake up.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. I love that. And the other question is, from your own journey, and remember we talked about the type of person who would be listening to this podcast, who it was designed for. From your own journey, if you could pay forward anything to anybody who's listening now, what would you say to them?
Wake up! But louder. And yeah, just you know, even recently now, I've started listening to podcasts. I've been so lucky to meet you, Joanne. I mean, if I hadn't gone to this education thing and this self-development and do something different way of thinking, I would never have met Joanne. I would never have met some of the lovely people that I've met at PMW. That is including Paul himself. The staff that work for him are a great crowd. The people that attend, there'll be some you connect with, there'll be some that you don't get a chance to connect with, but whatever. Time in that environment, you'll make those connections eventually. Because you're still on that journey of, will I speak to them? Have I got anything to offer? Are they going to think I'm an airhead? You could be, no matter how positive a person you are, I think you're always going to have those niggles but you just need to work on them every day.
So what I'm hearing there is for the viewers to wake up, get yourself out of your comfort zone and go and spend time with people that are going to lift you up.
Definitely. Don't be around people that bring you down. Hell no. Hell no.
And I'm
That's
really
pants.
And I'm really privileged to meet you as well, Lynn. I really am. Great connection.
Good friends.
Goes both ways. And
Good.
what a difference it makes when, I normally finish off there, but I'm just going to mention something that seems relevant is, as you go through a journey of growth and expansion, sometimes your friendships change, and sometimes you get a bit of disappointment in that people that you love don't really understand the journey that you're on, and it's part of the course, really. And then surrounding yourself with people who are now on the same wavelength as you, spiritual people would say vibrating at the same vibration as you, it really helps.
Yeah, definitely. I've been lucky that my friends, we just met up actually last week for the first time in 7 years, if you count meeting that time, it was at a funeral. Or the first time actually all of us, the three of us together, in at least, I would say 20 years almost. And we just picked up exactly from where we left off. We met for lunch. We were the same three giggly girls that we were back in high school. Two of the girls, my friends, I've known since primary 3. But I mean, there's no ego. There wasn't me going in there going, oh, look, I'm a property developer. Nothing. We just talked about, oh, this is the wee project that Grant and I are trying just now, and hopefully it'll work. And we just shared stories, and we were just the same 3 people that we were back in high school, which was so nice. Even although I did get some bad news from one of them, but we're there for each other now, and we're from that meeting now. We've planned almost 6 weekly to 8 to 2 month kind of visit every time, and we'll meet up and do the same thing, catch up, blether, have a chat.
I have no doubt you're going to be a success. To me, in my eyes, you are already. I can see you're already doing it, and you're like a magnet, Lynn. Your personality is amazing. This authenticity that's I learned recently, if you know anything about vibration and emotions and where they vibrate, it was always love is like the highest. I learned recently that authenticity is above love.
Yeah.
I
think you don't try and copy other people, or because you don't know who you're copying. They might be complete nuggets at the end of the day. You're like, I've followed a complete plum.
Just be you. Just be you.
Just be you.
Just be you. Oh, that was so lovely, Lynn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
when I publish this, people can message me if they want to find you on social media. Lynn helps people build their portfolios and various different things. So yeah, you'll be about, and I know I'll be seeing you very soon anyway. So
Yeah,
thank you for coming
tomorrow,
on
in
my
fact.
yeah. I have the pleasure of seeing this lady more often. So thank you for being on my podcast, Lynn. It was a
Thanks for
pleasure.
inviting me, Joanne. I'll see
Thank,
you tomorrow.
thank you.
Bye.